For services goal integration, this will be if you have a related service that is integrating on one of your annual goals that you have written, and they will go in and add their information if they are integrating with a goal. The next section, we're going to look at accommodations. Just like before, it is going to automatically populate what accommodations were entered into the previous IEP, what those mean, where they're going to be provided. So you'll have to come in and add the location, and art is in special education, assemblies is special education, English, lunch, math, music, PE, life skills, science. And if you need to add some, it's perfectly okay. You're going to come up here to the right to the blue writing of Add Class Activity. Click on Add Class Activity, and you have a whole list of activities that you can add here in this section of classroom activities, and it will populate them down here at the bottom. So if I want to add, oh gosh, let me look at this to see what I'm going to add. We don't have any of those to add. So as you're adding, I would add something, but if I add it, I don't have the ability to take it away because I'm not the case manager. As case manager, you would be able to delete. So say I add science here. I'm just going to go ahead and add it. My add science, I have to come over here to my participation level and say, how is the student participating? Well, the student's going to participate in science either with the regular class or activity, participate with accommodations, or nope, they're not going to participate. So if they don't need accommodations for that area, they're going to participate with the class. But if they need accommodations, participate with accommodations, save and continue. And then it's going to ask you, well, what accommodations does that child need? And you'll have to come in and click and add what the child needs. You do have an option of other if you're just providing the assistive tech, or you can click assistive tech and they'll give you an opportunity to specify what that is. And then save and continue. And it's going to give me error because I have to list at least one. So I'm going to list the assistive tech because this student does need it. Save and continue, and it will automatically add it into your list. So here was the science I added. He's going to get it in the special ed class. In the accommodation, he's going to need his assistive tech devices. I need to go through and edit every one because I have to decide, is the accommodation that has been checked correct, or do I need to just put in some custom accommodations? Custom accommodations may or may not be likely. It just depends on what your student needs to be successful. But it's things, say it's something like verbal, visual, gestural, physical prompting, or close proximity. Well, you don't see those up here. So that's why you would have the custom accommodation, because the ones that are listed here with the check boxes are mainly your testing, normal testing accommodations. That way they're making sure with what you do on testing is provided in the class, and what's in the class is provided in testing. But if the student just needs prompting, what level of prompting as the accommodation, then you're going to list it. Or built-in sensory breaks. They have a name stamp. That would be a custom accommodation. So custom accommodations are anything that is out of the realm that would be used for state testing. And it's probably gonna, nope, it let me go. So you need to go through with each activity and list the actions, what type of accommodation is needed, or how it's going to be implemented. Same thing with district assessments. I'm going to click on district assessments, select the participation level. Okay, so here's my district assessments. Remember, our ULS checkpoints or the benchmarks are our district assessments because those are given quarterly. So ours are the alternate district assessments, whereas out in the county, they are doing the Case 21 assessments every quarter. So our ULS benchmarks are our district assessments. So how are they participating? With in regular class or with accommodations, or they don't do it. So save and continue for district assessments. And then what does that child get? For time's sake, I'm just going to click assistive tech and save and continue. Then the next section will be your state tests. So I'm going to add a state test. Now, this student is past 11th grade, so he does not have a state test, but whatever your student participates in, you need to check. So you have your access for your English language learners. You have your alternate access for your English language learners. You need to double check with Reve, who is our ESL teacher, which one, whether it's the regular access or the alternate access. Our students don't take the EOG or EOC or NCFEs, so we don't have to worry about any of those. And you'll notice I don't have anything listed for this student that I can check. Why? Because my student is not at an age of testing. So nothing's going to appear for me to check. So I'm going to save and continue. If you do have a student that is at a testing age, the test that the student should participate in will appear, but you still have to come and add the state test information. Otherwise, it'll appear here, but when you create your draft, it's going to say student not participating in state testing. And then the last box in this section is explaining why little Johnny can't take the regular district assessment and why Johnny can't take the regular state assessment. You need to make sure you put both in that explanation when you are explaining why they're taking an alternate assessment. You also need to come in here at the bottom and add implementation specifications. Remember, these are your who, what, when, and where. So how are these things going to be provided? If you need to put the narrative, some will be longer than others, but you need to tell why the accommodation or how the accommodation is going to be provided, who's going to provide it, what it is, when it's going to be provided, and where it'll be provided. Make sure you answer all of those questions. And then save and continue. Scroll back down. And that's all you have for this section. So you want to make sure you save and continue. And then, oops, I have an error because I did not put anything in my alternate assessment box. So I'm just going to put that for right now so I can save and continue and you can see what comes next. This is the easiest part of the whole process. This is your extended school year determination. If the student is not applicable or is not eligible, if the student is not eligible, you're just going to click no, no, and no. And then you're finished with this page. You do not have to do anything else on this page. You only fill out the rest of this page if the student is eligible. So you need to make sure you check the student is not eligible to receive extended school year. And then save and continue.